President Trump is in Sicily, Italy, where he meets Friday with leaders of G7 nations. On Thursday, Mr. Trump attended his first summit at NATO headquarters in Brussels. Here's the family photo with all the member states. European leaders hoped Mr. Trump would use his remarks in Brussels to explicitly endorse NATO's core mutual defense clause, but he didn't. Instead, he used much of his speech to criticize U.S. allies over their contributions to the military alliance.
The NATO of the future must include a great focus on terrorism and immigration, as well as threats from Russia and on NATO's eastern and southern borders. These grave security concerns are the same reason that I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years.
On that question of NATO's mutual defense agreement, Press Secretary Sean Spicer later said the president does support it, adding, "We're not playing cutesy with this. He's fully committed." Ken Thomas is in our Washington bureau. He's a White House reporter for the Associated Press. Welcome to you, Ken.
Hi, Lynn.
What was the calculus Thursday in not backing the mutual defense pledge?
Well, it seemed curious. You know, he spent a lot of time in his address talking about the need for NATO members to spend 2% of their GDP on defense. And he did not, though, say that he fully supported Article 5. The White House is saying that that's implied. But I think the concern that NATO members have is that there's context here. This is a new president who said shortly before his inauguration that NATO was obsolete. So there are a lot of concerns that he doesn't see the mission of NATO as being one that is supportive and helpful to the globe and to the U.S.-European alliance. And I think there's also concern that he may not be as strong of a check on Russia if Russia becomes more aggressive in the region.
Well, President Trump also condemned alleged leaks after British Prime Minister Theresa May complained about disclosures in U.S. news outlets about the Manchester attack. The U.K. even suspended intelligence sharing with the U.S. for a few hours. What role does this episode play, given Mr. Trump's complaints about leaks from his government?
I think the statement had a cleanup contingent to it. You know, there's been concerns that if they do not make clear that they can continue to share intelligence in a forthright manner with their allies, that they could be getting less information than they need. And this attack at this concert in Manchester really exposed the issue and made it much more of a concern because, as you note, Manchester police are not sharing any information on this attack with their American counterparts, and that approach could long-term make it much more difficult for the U.S. to fight terrorism.
Also, there were two U.S. presidents in Europe on Thursday. President Obama, former President Obama, met with Angela Merkel in Germany, and she later met with President Trump in Brussels. It seemed awfully coincidental, Ken. Talk about these dueling appearances.
The Obama team says that it was completely coincidental, that this had been previously scheduled, but it certainly offers an interesting look into the relationship not only between Angela Merkel and her predecessor to Donald Trump, Barack Obama, but also the U.S. relationship with its European allies. Obama and Merkel had a very good relationship. He notably made his last call to her as a world leader He is someone, they just worked very well together over the years, whereas Trump and Merkel have had somewhat of an awkward start to the relationship. When Merkel was here in Washington, she appeared to indicate she wanted to shake the president's hand while they were in the Oval Office. They didn't. Trump later said that he didn't hear her, but it just created for an awkward circumstance. So the fact that you had Obama meeting with Merkel, and then hours later she was in Brussels meeting with Trump, really sort of exposed the two different approaches to foreign policy that we've seen from the current president and the predecessor. I
want to get your take, Ken, on another topic. President Trump and Vice President Pence supported Greg Gianforte in the Montana special election. The vice president even campaigned with him, but now hasn't commented on the assault charge or said whether he supports Gianforte's candidacy. What position has this put top Republicans in?
It's awkward. Paul Ryan was asked about it today, and he said that the candidate should apologize to the reporter. He should, something like this should never happen. And Vice President Pence has completely avoided commenting on it. They were MIA today when they asked to respond. So this is an awkward situation. This is a race, a special election for the seat of Ryan Zinke, who became the Interior Secretary. And this is a state that the president won by 20 points. It should not be a very competitive race, and yet they find themselves in a tight race, and now they have a candidate who was just charged with a misdemeanor assault. So it's a bad circumstance for Republicans.
All right, Ken Thomas in Washington. Ken, thanks.
Thank you.